It's your money, and right now we're talking about something most of us have, whether we like it or not, debt. And in this recession, many of us saw our debt grow as we struggled to pay our mortgage payments, our car payments, and even pay our credit cards. And things only really pretty much got worse with mounting penalties for debt. And while some of us are still looking for an escape, jail could be in the future for people who don't pay their debt. In fact, a study out of Minnesota found that last year, 848 people were sent to prison for not paying their debt. Similar cases are popping up in half a dozen other states like New Jersey and Arkansas. And joining us right now to explain further is bankruptcy attorney Walter Beninati to offer some other tips for us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Now, how could something like this happen? Could somebody actually really go to jail? Because it's happening in other states.
Well, there is a point in the process that if a credit card company does get a judgment against you, a judge requires you to fill out information for that credit card company. And what happens is a lot of the times you don't want to fill that information out, because if you do, they may garnish your checks or possibly levy your bank account.
Wow.
So if you don't fill that information out, the judge can file a writ of bodily attachment and potentially jail you for a number of days. It doesn't happen often, but it may happen.
Right. Now, some things that you were telling me earlier is that to avoid something like that from happening, you definitely want to check your mail, you want to avoid certain companies. What are some tips for people so that they don't go down that path?
Absolutely. The first thing that I would encourage your listeners to do is definitely don't bury your head in the sand. And that's one thing that a lot of people do and think that the problem's going to go away. And
Right.
It's really not.
Tackle it head on.
Absolutely. And the strongest thing I can encourage everybody to do is to avoid debt settlement companies. Debt settlement companies are absolute scam of the century. They're an unregulated industry that is increasingly getting a lot of regulation that's happening now from the Federal Trade Commission. And listeners that watch your shows, watch your television, hear a lot of these commercials that come on to tell you that they can eliminate your debt for pennies on the dollar, or they have secrets that the creditors don't want you to know, and those are just scams.
One other option, though, I mean, some people hear bankruptcy and they're like, oh, that's the stamp of death, I'm going to lose everything, it's not for me. But you were saying bankruptcy could actually help. How?
Well, Talitha, if I could scream and shout out loud at the top of a building on how bankruptcy can help your listeners eliminate their debt over the course of literally 4 to 5 months, there is a stigma that's been attached to bankruptcy that is just been dispelled. Right now, there are a number of people that are taking advantage of the bankruptcy laws and writing off their debt and reestablishing themselves and putting them in a position to reestablish their credit within even 2 years after bankruptcy.
Wow. And real quick, because we have to wrap up here, but you were saying that your company is doing something right now to actually help people, because so many people are out of work right now. What's
That's
your company
right.
doing to help
Well, it's
people?
our way of giving back to the community, and what we're doing is we are announcing a 50% off discount of our legal fees for unemployed Central Florida residents who've been unemployed for at least 6 months. And we're doing that because right now there's over 1 million people that are unemployed in Central Florida alone.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Walter Beninati. If you want more information, we're going to post it on our website. We'll send it on over to you. Heidi?